Welcome to turning a moment into a movement.
This little light of mine, I'm gon' let it shine. I'm gon' let it shine. This little light of mine, this little light of mine, I'm gon' let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gon' let it shine. I'm gon' let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gon' let it shine. I'm gon' let it shine. Oh Lord, just let it shine. This light of mine, this light of mine. Oh Lord, would you please just let it shine. Take the drama out of my life. Oh Lord, every night, the pain ain't right. I wake up at night, I never sleep. 26, 10, and 7, that's just me. Every day I need a little seed. I need a little fresh air, man, I need to breathe. All I know is trauma, all I know is tickets. All I know is no visit, all I know is a mission to get straight up out of prison. Lord have mercy for it. Lord have mercy on my people. Preacher Mary Washington and all my real. Lord have mercy with my people. I pray to God, we really need you. When I was down bad, when things weren't going right, every time I prayed at night, I put my hands up in my face. I said, Lord have mercy, little light of mine. Lord God, please let it shine. It's the drama that I live in my life. I swear to God, I was a bad guy every night. 10 toes down, salute. Everybody suffering, everybody who trying to make a way. Everybody looking for the sky, everybody looking for that piece of pie. In a law library, I know what that feel like. Hoping that somebody get active and involved in your situation. Man, pop your collar and pray. Cause Lord have mercy on my soul. And they make bad guy father get out soon. And the rest of those brothers who be mobbing to child each morning. Oh man, I ain't going to this afternoon. Man, I'ma miss dinner today. I got a couple noodles. Hey, you know what that feel like? Do you know what it is? And if you a victim of a wrongful conviction, suffered and served by Ken Worthy, then I know that you know what that pain feel like. And your mama know what that pain feel like. Your father know what that pain feel like. With that light, let that little shine. Let that light shine, a little light of mine. Bad guy, Doughboy Week, all these great people in this great world of ours. 10 toes down, salute. I appreciate you, bad guy. I appreciate you, we. I appreciate the tech. I appreciate everybody in the studio. We gon' pop off that LV, ooh-wee. Cause that's what they be liking to see. But I hope you hear the missing when you see me fresh. Salute.
Hey everyone, greetings. Thank you for joining us on Turning a Moment into a Movement. I am J Love, and I represent also the Justice for Gerard movement, who inspired this whole platform. Gerard's my son, who was wrongfully convicted of a crime he didn't do, and he went to prison for that crime. And because of that, we and the journey and everything that I was on with him, and I met so many other people. I just felt the need to create a platform where we can come together and tell stories and give people an opportunity to tell their own story in their own words in a safe space. So that's why we come here every Friday for Turning a Moment into a Movement. I'm going to bring in, but before I bring in the panel, I just want to read you guys our mission is to bring awareness to all that are impacted from being wrongly convicted, over sentenced, mentally ill, and medically frail in our communities, to inspire, organize, and educate all communities about the needs to disrupt systems, policies, and patterns of the criminal legal system that leads to wrongful convictions. So again, thank you for joining us. We have a great conversation that's going to happen tonight. So we have maybe a little bit of technical difficulties, but we're going to keep moving while I figure that out. I want to bring on our panel. Hey, Revertia.
Hello, Jay. Hello, everybody. I'm so glad to be here tonight. I'm telling you, Jay, we have much to talk about. I am the narrative transformer, and I'm telling you, Jay, we have got to continue to transform these narratives that prove to be injustices not only to us but to others who are marginalized in our community. And I hope, my prayer is that you guys stood strong today and that you held on to your dollars and that you not only stay strong today, but let this habit of being intentional with how you spend your money, your time, and your energy, let that be your focus. And really look at, how am I spending my money? Is this necessary? What am I doing to my community? Am I hurting it, or am I helping to bring it together? Am I helping us? Am I helping us all to build? So, Jay, I'm so glad about turning the movement into a movement, because it helps to turn things around, and it shows the possibilities of what can happen when we stand together. I am so grateful to be here this evening, and I am the owner of the Choice Zone. And if you need some counseling, I give discounts to anybody who has been incarcerated, anybody who has been wrongfully impacted. Just give me an email at tiataylor@thechoicezone.com. All
Okay.
right.
All right, Revertia, thank you. Hey, Leslie. Turn on your
Rookie mistake. I had the mute on. Hello, good evening. So today makes a month I've been on here and I'm loving it. I've had, it's good to have conversations when there are some understandings that are already there. Um, and so I appreciate that. So I'm Leslie McGraw, and I have a business called Let's Go Social Media Marketing and Training, where I help get businesses and civic organizations get their word out. But how I'm most attached here and how I met with Jay Love and Trisha and all the whole crew is through my work as the founder of the Albert Williams Voting Corner. Well, we take the vote as one tool, democracy as one tool, but the end goal is liberation and collective power. So I'm all in for tonight's discussion. I won't delay it any further.
Thank you, Leslie. And last, but certainly not least, Trisha. Hey.
Good evening, my sisters. Oh man, what a blessing to be here. My name is Trisha Duckworth. I am the executive director and founder of Survivor Speak. I am just excited about this conversation tonight, and the continuation of this platform. I say it to Jay all the time. I'm so blessed and grateful to have, met Jay and formed a sisterhood. And we'll probably be talking a little bit about that tonight too. But I am just grateful because when you can come together with folks that are like-minded and move forward in the work, it makes it less daunting, especially because sometimes we can't seem to get along. But I'm longing for the day where we can stand together, those that will, and continue this work because it is so necessary. So thank you again, Jay, and to my sisters, and even to our guest tonight, who is not a guest. Love you all.
I know, Trisha, our guest is not a guest. He's family. So I'm just going to bring him on in and let him introduce himself. And then we're going to get to the conversation. We got a lot going on. Revertia hit a little bit on it. And I want to ask you guys, how you stood up today. But first, hi, Nicholas.
Hey, what up, though? What's up, panel? What up to all the listeners, everybody that's out there?
Nicholas, introduce yourself for
Yes.
those who don't know you. Leslie, do you know Nick?
I am a fan. I'm like, so I watched all the videos of Michigan Liberation and everything. But this is my first time kind of meeting him. So yeah, let me hear what you got to say. I'm so excited about
Yeah,
this.
well, that's what's so. Well, it was honor, pleasure to meet you. You know, Reverend Tay and Trisha, we've been around, and Jay. But yeah, name Nicholas Stafel Buckingham. I love saying my name now because I used to get bullied about it, so I'll say the full name. Stay full of my dignity. Yeah, co-founder, co-executive director of Michigan Liberation. I would consider myself, you know, like a newly organizer, although I've been in this movement for about 8 years now. Formerly incarcerated. I spent close to a decade right here in Michigan Department of Corrections for, you know, active violence that not only impacted my life, I know that it impacted my family and impacted my community. And really give me, you know, this idea to lean more into like Black healing, the Black joy, you know, the things to celebrate that was taken away from me as a child. So yeah, master in social work. Attained my social work degree from University of Michigan, so go blue. I did my undergrad at Oakland University, so I'm still part of the Grizz gang family there. And yeah, I'm just a diehard organizer out here trying to end mass incarceration through a lens of abolition and healing. So that is a little bit about me.
Yeah. I always, when I seen Nick, I remember the first day I met him and he introduced me to Trisha. And then me and Trisha, we just been together ever since. So I just appreciate you, just all the stuff that and how you and Michigan Liberations have really impacted my life. And I appreciate you. And I'm so glad and honored that you're here with us tonight.
Oh yeah, appreciate the both of y'all. I remember that day, like 2020, right? Is that
Yeah.
No, that was
yeah,
like
we were
2018, 2019. It was before COVID.
yeah, before
Yeah.
COVID, we was on Kim
Yeah.
Worthy's head, like trying to get some justice for some folks. So it's
Right.
like,
We was
hey,
all at the Brown, at the town hall meetings and
yeah, yeah.
we was trying to get Kim Worthy, but out of there. So
And let me say though, what one hell of a campaign that was, from start to finish, with inclusion for the community every step of the way. I mean, just the boots on the ground approach, the thoughtful approach, but also too mission driven, because the mission was to reveal, okay, the injustice, to reveal the corruption, to reveal, but in a way that was so, even the way that she was even offered to come to the table. I mean, when I tell you the brilliance behind that
yeah,
campaign, I was just honored just to sit at the table and watch what was going on. So kudos to you and Michigan Liberation, and for the continuation, years later.
Oh
Kudos
yeah,
to you
much appreciated. Yeah, I appreciate that.
yes. I'm like, anytime I can say something about her, let me in. Put me in, coach.
Yeah.
I'm ready. But anyway, yes, we love you, Nick. So tonight we're going to talk about Black resistance, Black liberation 2025 and beyond. And I had the opportunity to hang out with you guys this summer and at Big. And I learned in a week, I learned so much. I didn't think I needed to know, but I'm glad that I do know now because all of these young people who are so dynamic and they were really, including yourself, Nick, just, giving us a lesson about Black liberation that I didn't even know that I needed until I stepped into that space. All I knew, I saw the word healing and I was like, I need to know. And so,
Didn't know what you was getting yourself into,
right.
huh?
Okay, healing, I'm going. I didn't know that I was going to have to like peel all these layers back and really, show up in a different way that I was afraid to, show up as in this space. But I'm so happy that I did it in this group and with you guys. I felt protected. I felt that it was okay for me to be vulnerable. But also it empowered. I left empowered. Like, I'm all about Black now. I'm Black as everything. So I'm just glad that you're here because now we're in 2025. And like when I left, I did not think that we would be in this space with this president. I was like, so November came and I'm just blown away again, second time. Kim Worthy was the first time. This was like my second blown away moment. And so today I'm glad we're having this conversation because we had the blackout today. And then, I wasn't on social media until I seen the craziness. And I was trying to get, today is the first day because I was trying to get Tupac Gangsta Party on here. So I could play that right quick. I saw the president and the vice president and all that craziness. And I'm like, I'm so glad that we're having this conversation because these people is out their mind. So what is Black liberation now in 2025? Because this show wasn't like 2024 was something, but 2025 is on another level. Already it's like what, 35 days that he's been president. It feels like 9 months.
Not very much, but I will say that we have never strengthened the Constitution. We have never strengthened democracy. We have never strengthened anything in this little American experiment without Black liberation. Like we've tested and pushed America to try to uphold some of what it said it'll do. And so somewhere down the line, we were abandoned. And look at us. Just look at us. Just look at us. And when I say look at us, I'm not talking about us in this room. I mean, the whole country, because we're all in the same leaky boat right now.
Yeah. I think for us here at Michigan Liberation, and for folks that don't know, Michigan Liberation is a network of formerly incarcerated, directly impacted folks and survivors of harm and violence in the community, building power to make systemic changes, right? Like in our communities, within ourselves, in the system. And, we've done a ton of organizing, around last year cycle, the electoral cycle, both local and national. And, I think for us, you have to be prepared for moments like this. And when moments do arise, it's like, what do we bring into our community where we meeting folks kind of like in the middle, almost like not direct service, but a mutual aid. How are we showing up for our community? And, for organizers, one of the ideas is like making sure that us who claim to be organizers and activists are trained up, have the skills, and have a toolbox that's ready to serve community. I think we've been campaigning for a long time. And we've been through a Trump administration, we've been through Obama administration, we've been through the Bidens, the Bushes, and everything else. And it's constantly like, what are we getting out of this? Playing around with the same two parties. Black folks are often the ones that's left out. We know that, right? And I think going through this administration, it's let's build community, right? Like, let's get back into these blackouts. It's perfect if it can sustain itself and be long term. But as the blackouts are happening, right, if Mama Joe down the street need, food because we're not going to the grocery stores, where's the local garden, right there in our community by Black folks that, Mama Joe can go to? For us, we have a bail program. So it's like if Black women go to jail, we're going to put our resources up to go and bail a Black woman out to make sure she's connected with her children during this administration. So we have to think more community-wise, more mutual aid, get back into the relationship building of each other, and prepare for like the next, 3 years and 9 months with this administration and fighting to build power with.
It already feel like 9 months.
I know, but it's true. Like we're not. I mean, we're vulnerable right now.
Mm-hmm.
The Black poor, the Black working class, the Black middle class, with the federal, at every level, we are so vulnerable, and we've lost community. We just, we lost community. So I guess this is, like you said, to get back to that.
I think too that I think I feel empowered that it's almost forcing us to make some changes. And for those who could not resist drinking today or buying that pack of cigarettes, when we talk about healing in our community, we got to get down to the nitty gritty, because we cannot stand strong broken. We can't do it. And some people still, I wanted to, because back in the day when they had boycotts, people were out there, and it's like they looked at you like, I know you're not getting on that bus. I know you're not. I wanted to go, my daughter was like, all these people in line at the Wendy's, mama, and people who were loud and vocal, resistance. How can you resist when you're broken? And we got to heal from the trauma, from whatever you're dealing with. We have got to heal, because our money cannot continue to go to places that are going to be for our demise.
Mm-hmm.
And we haven't even touched on Jay. Jay sends out information. Every time she sends out information, I got to call, because now I got an attitude. At first I was chilled today. I was good. I said, Lord, okay, I'm not going to look at nothing. I'm just going to stay focused on what you want me to look at right now. I'm going to do my work. And then I see a text. Then I look at it. Then I said, no, they didn't. No, they not. Right when you think there's nothing else ridiculous that can happen, then something else happens ridiculous. And what we need to understand is they are not for us. Stop trying. Stop trying to fit in.
Yeah, I read something recently. It said, if, it said, get your seat at the table. It said, if my oppressors are at the table, I don't want to sit at that table. That's not the table. I don't want to sit at that table. Leave me another table,
Yeah. It saddens me because we're unlearned. Some of us don't, like, I looked at the comments about today, and I seen the divides, and the magicals were talking, other folks that didn't understand were talking. And I think what it is that when we talk about this all the time, the lessons that were passed down should have been passed down, weren't really passed down. So a lot of us don't have a sense of standing for something. A lot of us have the sense for going along to get along. Because don't make white folks uncomfortable. Don't make rich. Just try to get in where you fit in. Do the best that you can. So we weren't taught to stand. I didn't just wake up with the bullhorn. Well, I think I always been a loudmouth, but my parents, I love them, but they wasn't teaching that stuff to me. They had me on that front pew at church though. And guess what? Our churches aren't even teaching it. And that's a travesty, because they led the movement. And now a lot of them, not all, sit silently. So you're not getting the messages at church. You're not getting the messages at home. They damn sure don't want to teach us in school. We're destroyed for our lack of knowledge. So it's our fault, but it's not our fault. But I tell people all the time, I don't care how the hell we got here. We can't stay here. We have to move beyond this and teach the lesson. That's why we're boots on the ground, pulling up in the hood, telling people they got to vote, but you got to do more than that too. Like these lessons people really need to learn, and everybody ain't going to go, but those that will spread that word. And that's the hope that we keep moving forward with.
Yeah. Now that's real. I want to, the program that Jay Love spoke about, the training big, stands for Black Intensive Groundwork. And one of the ideas is like constantly keeping us connected with the ancestors, right? In which like we have a program, Return to Reclaim, where we're taking folks over to Ghana, right? So that we can have a kind of like a bird's eye on white supremacy, all right, imperialism, all of the isms that we can possibly think of how these things are birthed, and what they look like over, looking through a slave dungeon and then coming over here. Like, yeah, a lot of our knowledge, our wisdom get lost, right? But it's those of us that know it that has to keep that going, right? Those of us that know it constantly in the community, having platforms like this where we can spread the word, having house parties, having core teams and bases where, we can continuously do that type of political education, keeping our people grounded and centered on, how to fight for justice, how to fight for your own equal rights and your power, right? And I think one of the things, like, I wouldn't say it's our fault. Like this is the design of white supremacy, and it's working perfectly. Nobody said that, white supremacy, whiteness would just, evolve in one day and then control things for one day and then dissolve in one day. Like this was a generational tactic that was used to keep us deaf, dumb, blind, and everything else that you can think of, right? From the knowledge and wisdom that will really propel us up. That we're fighting about going to McDonald's. It's like at the end of the day, it's poison, but we're fighting about that, so we have to continue with these type of platforms and driving that narrative and telling our story. They're erasing our history, they're erasing our story. We have to continue to tell that story,
Thank you
that's key.
That, because I'm sorry, Reverend Tia. Thank you for uplifting that. I preached a message one time, and it was this: it's not my fault, but it's my responsibility. It is our responsibility to keep teaching these messages to everybody who will listen. So thank you for uplifting that.
Yeah, I second that, because the thing about it is we can't depend on somebody else to tell our story. And we are the only ones who are waiting for somebody else to tell our story. And it's like we won't tell the story unless they tell it. The story is going to still be told. I don't care what you take out of the schools. The story will continue. Now, my mother walked and marched alongside with King back in those days. She was a militant. And so I got that information, but she grew up poor. She came out of St. Louis, Missouri, and and then came to Michigan, after my grandmother remarried. But knowing the history on both sides, it is empowering because I wasn't, when you have the idea, when you know that you weren't too far away from being a slave in my generation. Okay. So when I looked at my grandmother's, because my grandmother lived to 94. So I look at her mother was freed during slavery, but she was a slave. She was born a slave.
Wow.
Too far removed for the great grandmother. And so a lot of times the young people now, unless they were told, unless they were brought up with that knowledge, unless they knew the history, then they don't know, and they don't feel empowered, and they do feel like all the odds are against them. But when you grow up knowing history, and you don't even have to know your own, let don't get it twisted. You just need to get some history in Black history, so that you
Mhm.
can hold on to it, even if you don't know your exact lineage, because certain things are the same around the world. Everybody was Black. Check it. I don't care what continent. I don't care Asia. I don't care if you look at the original people anywhere, they were Black. But if you look at the history of genocide, genocide has happened everywhere to get rid of who? The indigenous people. Who are the indigenous people? Us. Why are they all afraid of us? We got power. We got power. So,
Well,
so we
mhm.
still got it. And once you get a hold of that, then you get excited about who you are. Go ahead, Trisha.
I think
That
that
was
was
that.
me. I was just gonna say that so my mind is just all over the place right now, and I love history, and so one of the things to recognize is that at some point individual liberation became bigger than collective power. Do you get what I'm saying? And um yeah, so I mean, I feel like that's kind of what I'm hearing, like um I read the comments too, Trisha, and I remember you told me, because I'll go round and round and round with somebody about something. She was like, once you tell they're stiff neck, so she calls stiff neck, just leave it alone. And so I think about that, and also I think about last night I went to uh, a talk about Nicholas Sade, who he came from what's now is Borno, what's now part of Nigeria, but Nigeria is not really Nigeria. It's just two groups of white people selling the people in the land to another set of people. But anyways, uh he came and to the United States as a free person and was enslaved. Like, he didn't come on a slave trade. Like, he came and he was a teacher and everything, and they enslaved him. But because he had that knowledge that, no, my father was a chief and all this stuff, like, um he couldn't stay a slave. And so he ended up being able to get out, and he lived in Michigan for a while, and then later moved to Tennessee. And and he said, where everybody else was trying to teach, like, the up and coming blacks or the freed blacks, he said, I want to be with my people, with the most ignorant, that are willing to learn, that are open to hear. That's where I feel comfortable. And he taught, and so that's why he had, like, there were like 10 or 12 schools that were burned down because of his movement. To all these students were like, it was parents that were taking their children, who was their help in the farms or whatever, but they were putting their children in school, and it caused a big ruckus. And um and so, but there's little parts of this presentation about who he was, and he had a good personality and stuff. And I think sometimes in our militancy, how we teach Black history is only the oppression part, or only the sad part. We talk about history of other cultures. It's a little bit more well-rounded. So my great grand uncle was lynching victim, and uh, we have had conversations. Whole reason I decided this, his life did not begin for most white folks until 36 hours before his death. So everything he had done before that didn't matter. And that's how I see that narrative. And I know you're into shift narrative, Reverend Tia, but you know, um, So, my son is in MDOC right now, Nicholas. And so I usually, when people ask, or, I say I have a son, I say he's an artist, he's creative, whatever. I talk about that first because he just happens to be an inmate at the prison. That's not his story. You know what I mean? That's not his whole story. And when we talk about history, whether it's now in 2025 or in the future, or we looking at the past, we have to tell like the as much as we can, the whole story.
Yeah. Yeah, that's good. That's great. That's great information. And it's true. And we got to go beyond slavery.
Yeah.
We got to go before, like you said, we got to go before that. We got to, look, my grandbaby is running around talking about the queens of Africa, and and knowing, studying those queens. But see, she got a little in because we know our history is from northern Ethiopia at the time, which is present day Eritrea. So when you know that, then you can go back. But we all can still go back. We all can still go back. I don't care what continent we're on. The queens, the kings, the pharaohs. You're looking at us.
Mm-hmm.
And we are the beginning of all things academic, all things physics, all things math. But they try to turn that around. Who was that who wrote the conspiracy of black boys? I forget the author's name, but they try to turn it around to make it seem like our children are less than, and that they can't learn, and that they're rambunctious. But we learn through movement. We have to move, but our bodies are designed to do that. And so sometimes we've categorized a child with ADD or something, and they don't have it at all. They don't have it at all. And I tell the story. I had to fight for my son and tell the teacher that she's not qualified. And you don't want to go to court because you're not qualified to say a diagnosis. And he could read. She didn't know he could read. How come you don't know he could read? He's in your class. You didn't know he could read? Or you took for granted. He's trying to teach the other children because he already know what you're teaching them. Then I asked her, do I need to send materials for him, or can you handle this? And that's how we have to do. We have to be advocates for our children. And we're talking about healing and taking our families back and doing everything that we need to do for our community. It involves advocacy at every level.
At every level. You're right.
Yes. One thing my mom did, because both my parents, they didn't grow up with Black history and all of that. So I listened to the old folks, and then my mom put me in connection with folks that she knew more than her. And that takes, now that I'm this age, I just think about that as a mom. That takes a level of humility to say, I don't know, but I'm putting you in the path where people know, versus saying, I don't know, and I turned out okay, so she don't have to know either, And I think sometimes
I think people use that as an excuse.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying?
I don't know, so I ain't gotta know. And so fast forward, here we are today. I think so much our history been, I think you might have said that, Leslie, so much about the struggle. And so soon as we kind of got a little bit out of the struggle, we kind of ditched the history and start, focus on, oh, I can do this now, I can do that now. And it just got further and further away until it's back into your face again. Fast forward to 2025, we're talking about the things that you know, my dad probably was telling me when I was a kid, you know, that's going up, minus drinking from the black and the water fountains and stuff like that. Who says, you know, that might not come back up? I mean, so I'm just saying, you know, these things that we're having those same kind of conversations because we didn't take care of our business. So now history is kind of repeating itself. We're back in that cycle where we need to go. So when you look at today, when we say economic blackout, there are some people kicking and screaming like, no, I want to go to the store. I want to go to Target. They don't have a clue on how to stand up. A lot of it is fear based. And a lot of it is, you know, people want to hold on to this so bad, um, how they were living or whatever, so bad they don't want to give it up to stand up for their own selves. You know, it's not just us, you know, a lot of people voted, you know, for Trump. And I think, you know, they wasn't thinking about us. They was thinking, oh, well, whatever happens to them, that's on them, you know. They felt like it wasn't going to affect them. But now, today, it's touching everybody. It's not just us or it's not just Latinos. And it's not like, it's everybody. It's going to affect you in one way or the other. So you're going to either stand up or you're going to get trampled over because people are tired. We're talking about is what, the end of February, so a little over a month, and we wore out already. You know, I don't know if y'all, but I am. I wore out already. Every day is a different level of crazy that's coming on TV. You know, Trump Gaza, and he had that whole video. Trump put that video out of he got golden statues. Like, what the hell is you talking about? $500 million gold car. You can come to America. Like, all this is, and it's just like, come, why not shop? Why not go and patronize the people who ain't thinking about you? Why not?
Yeah,
And it's like now. Okay, go ahead, Nicholas. Go ahead.
Yeah, I was like, yeah, the times now. You know, I think I turned on the TV today and seen the argument, you know, between folks, and I'm just like, and is this where, you know, we're at again? And it almost seems like this culture now it enjoys the bad person image, right? It's like the bad person now is becoming the hero, and it's almost what the culture is pushing for. And also, like, from an organizer stance, is like, yo, we're going to push for so much to try to cause as much mass confusion and rivalry amongst the people, to where, you know, oh, they would take to the streets. You know, there would be like um this inner, I don't want to say like civil war, but this inner conflict that folks would start to battle one another, you know, and like, you know, keeping it just centered around resistance, especially for Black folks. You know, I remember when Trump once said, and it went viral. It's like, Black people, what do you have to lose? You know, and I always thought about that. I always, like, that statement just rings in my head all the time. Like, what do we actually have to lose? And it's a lot, right? It's like our sanity, our joy, our opportunity to just be Black. You know, you're taking like Blackness away from schools. You're stripping people away from want to identify or who they really are. And then you ask that question, like, what do you have to lose? And, you know, I think now we have to just, you know, we have to stand diligently on building our power. And we can't just continue to, like, throw the bricks at, you know, the Donald Trump regime. We got to look at the Dems too, because they play gamble and Russian roulette with Black working people, right? Lives, Black lives, colored folk lives, right? They play Russian roulette with that. And now we're in this predicament. And I think for us, you know, we have to come back to the table and say, oh, what is it going to really take for us to build real power? right? People and money, building the things that we need in our community. You know, if we want to see a change in this legislation, we got to get the real ones elected. And we got to stay away from the politicians that are career wise, right? That's
Career
been in there for,
politicians, right?
yeah, career politicians. We need to like honestly move at a place where we're organizing and getting our own folks into the Capitol, into Lansing, into our city councils. And if we're not going to do that, we're going to continuously be ping pong back and forth between a Republican narrative and a Democratic narrative. And we see, like, we have examples that this works when we organize from a community stance. Look at Ann Arbor or Washtenaw County, right? We pushed Victoria Burton Harris here in Wayne County. However, like, she got the seat over there in Washtenaw, and I like, that's community led, that's community driven. I'm not going to give the prosecutors over there like all 5 golden stars, right? But have there been things that we've been able to meet across the table from a community stance? And it's like, yeah, because they understood community at that time. You know, when we pushed the prosecutor in Oakland County, like, that came from our base. Wasn't a career politician or anything. And what was the result of that? Was like, we seen 22 juvenile lifers resentenced and come home.
Oh,
You know,
wow.
so we need to
When
have
was this?
this was in Oakland County with the election of Karen McDonald in
Oh,
2020.
okay.
And so the point I'm making is, you know, we have power. Black people have power. We have a voting base. My goal is to build the largest voting base of formerly incarcerated people, and I know that we can do it because that's one of the largest voting bases in America, right? And if we have a thing that unifies our voice collectively across the country and across the state, we can start to see changes. We can really start to see changes, and we know that we have a 4-year runway right now to really be deep in our communities and asking those important questions to our folks that are charismatic leaders. Where do you want to take your leadership? Are you ready to take it to the next level? Where's our people at that identifies as us? Where's our people at that come from, you know, a working family background? Where's our people at that come from the hood, the poverty? Like, we have real leaders amongst us that can make serious change, but we have to be serious enough to get behind these folks and get them elected. If not, we're going to be stuck in this bubble, you know. And that, like, I'm so appreciative to have opportunities around trainings, but that's why we're doing it, right? That's like, people need to get trained up. People need these things. Organizing is dying, and the way that we know organizing is dying is because we're losing. Right. And the way, if we want to win, we have to get back into this thing of building power, organizing our people, real advocacy, and not just doing it for my own self. Right. Like, this is for my community. It's that mutual aid to give back.
And I just love what you said. And I'm listening to you, and I'm thinking like, okay, he know it. But I think a lot of us that have had lived experiences do know, but our voices are other or deprioritized with the popular ones, and that's what I think we need to push on our cousins from another mother, is like, we need you to listen to us. I always quote you, Nicholas. It says here, those who are closest to the problem are also closest to the solution, but farthest from resources and power. I did an article on Michigan liberation a few years ago, and I quoted that quote from you, and I say it all the time because it's so true. Like, who best to explain how we got here and how we can get a game plan? It's not the next game plan to get whatever semblance of a democracy back is not going to happen at Congress, on the Hill, on, you know, at the conventions. It's going to be with us pushing those at the front.
Yeah, no, I hear you. And to give you a little history on that quote, I quote it a lot. It comes from a brother named Glenn E. Martin. He was the founder of Just Leadership USA, which was one of the largest national training platforms for formerly incarcerated folks in their leadership development. And I had an opportunity to take his year-long cohort, and that's when I first heard that statement, and it made so much sense, right? When I was coming up, coming through prison, I didn't really see a lot of counselors that was like me, and they won't allow me's inside the prison to counsel, right? And coming out, even going through, I didn't get an opportunity to do like any reentry programs. I went straight to school, and getting into social work, I start to see the counselors, and I say, yo, I don't really want the Becky from the hills trying to help me identify with my trauma and setting a goal of how I heal. Because you don't understand, I don't think they will understand, like, from my cultural stuff. I like to smoke weed, So, but Becky from the hills would tell me I need to go to rehab. You get what I'm saying? And I'm not promoting anybody like to drug use or anything. I kind of got my stuff together, but when I heard Glenn say that, those who are closest to the problem, and I look at this criminal justice ecosystem, there weren't many formerly incarcerated folks with a voice. They would say that they're creating a voice, but that's also creating our narrative and telling our story, right? That's tokenizing people based off the lived experience that they've been through, rather than giving us an opportunity to actually lead, to see if we can make change, take the risk and do that. Right. And so to take that out of a criminal justice ecosystem realm and put that into our community, we have these career politicians that this is their career. But could you imagine going into your community, the 7 Mile and Mounds, the 8 Mile and DeQuinders, going into the depths of your community and talking with those impacted people? Right? Folks that are impacted by poverty, lack of education, lack of government resources, and asking them just a simple question. If you had a magic wand and you wave it around and you wanted something to change, what would it be? And you would be shocked and surprised by the results that the responses that you would hear. We asked with Detroit Justice Center, they went in the community and asked young school children, if you had $500 million, what would you do with it in your community? And some of the most brilliant responses came from these children. However, the government of Detroit and Wayne County decided to spend $500 million on a brand new jail with additional beds for children. You get what I'm saying? And so it's like, who is making these decisions? Why are they making them? And how come the community is not involved in that? And we have, Black people got power. We really do. But we don't know that we have it and how to wield the power once we do have it. We like to leave the power on the table. And I say, like, the hell with the table, flip it. Let's take our power. And the way that we do it, we got to get us in there. We got to get the people that really
empowerment. You knew that just because I smoke weed don't mean that I can't lead, or whatever it is, whatever that thing. And for a long time, like, I felt like, oh, I didn't have no reason sitting here talking about, wrongful convictions or whatever. My son is in prison right now. You know what I mean? Well, what audacity. But then we see that it's only those parameters are only for us, and they're not from us. That's the oppressor's gaze, because RFK, this man was just given a $3 trillion budget, and all this power, and he's admitted to being on heroin since he's 15 years old.
A lot of them.
I mean, he literally said it like he said it. I was on heroin, and because he used it to say, like, oh, antidepressants are harder to get off of than heroin. I can tell you, I was on heroin for 15 years. Could you imagine us saying that? And not only, let alone get to the White House, we wouldn't even make it in here. Our own community would attack us, like, oh, we can't do nothing in the community no more.
Because what we do has always been criminalized. And that's what we need to. I don't care what you name it. It was criminalized. It was looked upon, whether it's hip hop, your dance, the dance moves you do, break dancing, rap, marijuana, you name it, until they could capitalize on it. They capitalize on it, but you still a criminal.
But we also criminalize each other as well. We take on the same mind as the oppressor,
Yeah,
when I was advocating about Gerard Solomon, people was like, well, how do you know? I mean, people in my community question, well, how do you know? Um, Police just started arrest. This is 2019, and Black people saying to me that people don't arrest you for doing nothing. Like Black people saying this. And I'm like, you taking on the same mindset of the people who wrongfully convicted my son. You. So not only do we have to fight that, we have to fight each other because we are the biggest cheerleaders for white supremacy. We are the ones who take on the talking point. They don't have to. All they have to do is put the thought out there, and then we just go and run with it. People ran with this. I want to get what is that? That check. They want to get another check.
A stimmy.
And they just knew that Trump is going to give them a stimulus check. And so that's all they was caring about. And they was up here from rap artists to, somebody who works at Popeyes talking about how great this person is. And I'm looking like, what is wrong with our people? We have to fight our people on every level, even in this wrongful conviction advocacy. We are fighting people because we want to stand up and say this person is wrong and what we need to stand up against her. There's people saying, well, I can't say that. They want to, and it's like us against them. And that's how we still stay connected today. Because we're so distracted by fighting each other.
And you guys said something. Oh, go ahead.
Go ahead. No, I did that last time. It's your turn now.
Okay, well, I was, Jay, you said something about when they put the thought out there, and we just run with a new narrative. Whatever is said, we just run with it. We don't investigate. We don't see the reality of it. And what is it going to take? It's going to take a collective consciousness on the items that are most dear to us, that are most important to us. All this stuff that they're talking about right now has nothing to do with your behinds. None of it. They are not talking about anything that can help people who are going to work every day, who can help seniors, who can help the people in our community. They aren't talking about our children. They're not talking about any of these things. And we need to stop listening to what people say and look at their actions. I hear what you're doing. How about that? Not what I see what you're doing. I hear, because my hearing is connected to your actions only. Just your actions. I don't care about what you're saying. I don't even care about what you're saying. My hearing is now just going towards what are you actually doing? And stop following these topics that they just throw out there for us to catch. They just throw it out there. And then we on the bandwagon. And we don't really have had anybody that speaks to just our community or the vulnerable populations. No one has done that. And right now, we stay in a divide. They speak a little bit. They're not really trying to make change. That's why it was easy as I don't know what for somebody to come in and reverse history in a day.
In a day. But they see our Blackness first, right? Because we are veterans. We are women. We are men. You know what I'm saying? We are disabled. We all those things too. And so that's what they didn't understand while they was trying to get, back at Black folks. Everybody's got the same poison, right?
And they've been at it a long time. I think it was Trisha who mentioned that, or Leslie, that they've been at this for years. You look at Project 2025, that's been in the works for decades. People who started on that project died and went on, and people continue. They continue the effort.
Yeah.
I mean,
We
just look
need
at the
to have
foundation.
our boots on the ground and continue like that.
It's
Yeah.
called
Go
the
ahead.
Heritage Foundation for a reason. They're trying to reclaim what they think was stolen, which was never stolen. Just got a little competition. The Heritage Foundation, which is funded by 130 major donors, which is that whole power mapping piece that I want to learn more about. That is
And corporations.
yeah, that's what I'm saying. Yeah, the corporations.
Mm-hmm.
So basically, all these corporations have a stake in this. They have a stake in Project 2025.
Yeah. I think that all of these things are so real, right? Um, but we pay so much attention to the playbook of the oppressor. And you know, that's why in this season, in doing something different, I don't even turn I used to be a CNN junkie. I don't even turn it on in the morning. I don't even flood my spirit with that. My spirit is flooded with what it is that I need to do, we need to do for the empowerment of our people. And I think that if we could turn away from their playbook for just a second
Mm-hmm.
and get into our own playbook, it's time
Mhm.
for us to I feel like that's how we
It's true.
there's this saying that says, well, you have to learn how to play their game. You could never learn how to play their game, because when you think you know it, they will change the rules in a split second.
And I
So,
got too much heart to play like that.
so the playbook needs to be created from us, for us, by us. Concentrate on us, like Nick said earlier, boots on the ground in the community. Do you know a Democratic leader in this area had the nerve to tell me, and I'm so grateful that they did, because that's why we changed our approach. Had the nerve to tell me, oh, I don't send mailings like that there. They don't vote. I'm like, do you realize all the untapped votes that you just missed out on? If you would just listen to what it made absolutely no sense. And we were at the meetings telling it, yeah, and you do this and you do that. And then I turned around and the Holy Spirit said, now go, the community wasn't with you. Now go get the community. Right. And so that's our mission. Our mission is, how do we get boots on the ground, not giving empowerment, because empowerment comes from within. And we just bringing a match like,
Mm-hmm.
everybody knows that we are the captains of our own ship. We know what we need. We know what we want. We know how to get there, and having those resources. And how do we build resources? It's by building the power. It's by coming together. In this next season, we're gonna have to learn how to eat meals together as a community. Probably we're gonna have to learn how to share lights. Your refrigerator out, bring your food over here, right? Like, we have to prepare in a way that's not so frantic, all wrapped up in their playbook. We still have to be knowledgeable about what's going on, but we have to take control of the narrative, and by being proactive in how we want to build our community right now.
Yes.
Yeah, and I think that, like, when I talk about mutual aid, you know, I, we can't allow ourselves to get like really lost in the false narrative that's happening now. Like there's some hard reality that's been happening. Right.
Right.
So like whiteness ain't just start right now. Right. White supremacy didn't just, it's been happening. It's just in our face now. We have tools and technology that really expose it and bring it forefront. I think it was something that you were saying along the lines of, like, you know, we're going by that oppressor's playbook, and that's the Willie Lynch syndrome, right? And it worked well. Something that was put out centuries ago, decades ago, right? And how to break the black man, how to break the black woman, how to break the black family, to the point where we will become the oppressors. We will actually become the oppressors that's going to oppress the oppressed, you know, and while being oppressed at the same time. You know, I'm an abolitionist, so I always, you know, had these conversations about police, prisons, and jails, and I always hear people like, oh yeah, they did such and such, you know, throw them in jail, throw them in jail. It's like, huh? You throw them in jail, and then like, what do you hope for change?
Mm-hmm.
Knowing that they will come home at some point in their life. And if we're just sending them to jail with this idea that rehabilitation happens, but we know the hard reality is there's no rehabilitation in jails. What do we really expect? I don't think people really expect any type of accountability. Is just in this ideal of oppressing folks, right? I always like when I compare prison, I always ask people like, you know, would you send a veteran across seas back over to Iraq or Afghanistan to heal, right? To come across their PTSD, to find the modalities to help them deal with that. People say no. Why would you send them over there? So why send somebody to the worst conditions known to mankind right now outside of slavery? Although prison is just another name for slavery, in the hopes that this person will come out as a full, upstanding, righteous human being. Many of us come out broken, full of trauma that we don't know what to do with, the anger, and then we carry the stigma, as many of our ancestors did that were free, right? Carry the stigma of the felony conviction. So now you can't get certain government benefits. You can't live in a house with your children and your wife or your husband. Or you're so stripped away from being a human, right? And so I'm just going back to that, just thinking of like, yes, we have to continue to have these spaces and conversations to remind folks that we can break away from that oppressor's mind thought, right? The ideas that we think keep our community safe is not keeping our community safe. The ideas that, you know, we think is keeping us safe is probably not really keeping us safe. And the other piece I want to bring us, you know, when we in 2019, I believe, maybe it was 2020, we did a brake light clinic, right? We occupied a space on 8 Mile, a very busy intersection, and we told the community, hey, police are pulling you over because of faulty brake lights. You can pull up here. Our organizers will fix those brake lights for you for free and also give you a political home where if you're impacted, you get to have, you know, a place to tell that story and amplify your voice. Y'all should have seen the line. It was throughout it was so long. The police, Detroit police tried to come and shut us down. And when they came, they like, oh, you got to shut this down. You got to permit and all this other stuff. It's like, yo, we're just fixing people brake lights. We're doing a service to the community where the police is getting like 40, $50 million. Just imagine if they were able to fix people brake lights when they pull them over, rather than I'm going to put you in jail. I'm going to put you in jail. We're not rehabilitating anybody that gets pulled over because of a traffic offense. If you're not paying their insurance, there is no rehabilitation. You get what I'm saying? So this idea like slavery never died. It's hidden in plain sight. It's called prison. We still have slave captors. They're hidden in plain sight where we see them. They're called the
Mm-hmm.
police, right?
Right.
And many of us, although I'm light skinned, so I probably would have been in a house known as like a house Negro, but too many of us wants to carry the title of now I'm the house Negro and I get to oppress people right here in my community. I get to do the things that have oppressed my ancestors and be okay with it. They're okay with it in these times. But we have to be diligent. As I keep saying, train, build the base, organize, political education. And if we continue to do that in our communities, we're bringing ourselves back to our body, back to the fight, right? And not allowing this idea that there's no hope out there for us or that we can give up. We can continue to fight, and there is hope out there. We got a 3-year runway, 4-year runway, and I believe at the end of that runway we will win. We just have to be diligent enough that we can build the power to win.
Right.
I'm praying that runway gets shortened. I'm praying every
I
that,
am
that,
too.
I want that runway to run all the way out. I ain't lying. And I'm, the thing about it is that they think it's okay, like you said, because their minds have been colonized. You got to understand, if you have a colonized mind, what reflects that? If
Mm-mm.
your first thing is always, I'm gonna call the police on you. If you're having arguments with your significant other, get some help.
Mm-hmm.
Go
Yep.
to counseling. They
Yeah.
will criminalize you more than anybody else.
Mm-hmm.
Because once you go before the judge, it's different. You can court watch all day and you will see the difference in what happens to people.
Yeah.
And
That
then
is true.
if you
Yeah.
if you are an abuser, if you abuse and abuse women, molest children, when did that start? Where did that start? If you rape, where did that start? If you constantly having children without parenting the child,
Mm-hmm.
without being a mother, without being a father, where did that start? Where did that come from? You don't want to be bothered with the children that you have. You want somebody else to take care of them. Where'd that come from?
Right.
And you want to get paid without working, or you want to receive services without paying somebody? What kind of mind do you have?
Mm-hmm.
We got to ask ourselves, if do I have a colonized mind? Have I agreed in any area with the oppressor? And if the answer is yes, what they used to say, govern yourself accordingly, get some help, you better pray, you better
Yeah.
ask for transformation of your own mind,
Yeah. Now
because
that's
you're a
real talk.
hindrance to our
Yeah.
population.
That makes me think about the last few weeks, maybe the last month has been it's been heartbreaking to
Mhm.
see how our community, especially black folks, right? Um and black activists is responding to the conditions of poverty. Here in Detroit, there was a mom that lost two children, homeless, sleeping in a van in some of the coldest nights in history, right? And some of the coldest nights in history. And we know the root cause of why that mom was there and why that mom lost her children. Yet we're only talking about if this mother was unfit, fit, if she was a deadbeat mom, what did she do with the baby daddy? Why ain't she making her money? Did she go in the casino? It's like, yo, why are we internalizing people's personal trauma rather than getting to the root cause? That
Mhm.
if we were taking care of what we need to take care of to address the poverty issues in our community, these children wouldn't have died, right? After going to the city to look for help, after going to the county to look for help. There was another mom in Oakland County out of Pontiac that left some children in, very horrible conditions.
Mhm, mhm,
I can't say anything about the conditions, right? But what we can go back and ask is, how did we get here? How did she get here? And I'm sure that we will be able to power map and trace back the steps, and it will lead down to a root cause, which is poverty, right? That because people live in poverty means that the county executives and the workers don't have to do their job to go in there and inspect the buildings that are owned by the county because they live in poverty, because these people are poor. They don't feel that they have to go in there and inspect their stuff because it's poor people's stuff. So here these children are, right? And I say all that because I want to bring it back to this. I started the Black Mother's Day Bailout back in 2017, and there was a young mom who she had a baby. She was living in this house. She was on the
Maya.
brink of being homeless. Somebody looked out for her, right? She went to go
Mhm.
get her hair done, something that she is able to do, and we don't control that, and we should
Mhm.
not have a thought about that. You know what I mean? And her baby happened to fall through a hole in the floor that she kept covered up with the baby's crib, hoping that
Mhm.
the impossible would never happen, right? But it happened, and the baby fell through this hole into the basement and drowned in sewage water. And the very
Mhm.
first thing our community did was criminalize her, and then our prosecutor pressed charges and locked his mother up. For what?
Mhm.
For being poor? For living in poverty? Right? You come downtown in Detroit, a lot of our folks that sleeping on the ground, the police will come through not to scoop them up and take them to a warming center, but to tear up their only belongings that they have, and to tell them to beat it from that property or face the risk of going to the county jail, because we're criminalizing poverty, right? So like the slave thing is still is living, and we become okay with it. Now we're becoming the narrators of people's personal trauma. Why does that matter? The root cause is that's what we need to get to. The root cause is why we need to go in our communities and elect the people that's really going to like stand up to Congress, stand up to legislators, and also be accountable to their constituents to make the change on the root cause. If not, we're just trying to like make changes in people's personal traumas, and we can only do that through healing. Not through in addressing the systemic cause of like why are we in these conditions.
Yeah.
So I just wanted to bring that up. Like everything is being criminalized in some form, fashionable way. In the work that I do, I can tell you right now, Black women is the most criminalized population in the country, and nobody wants to say that. Nobody. I can't believe we just had a state of the state, and our governor did not speak about anything criminal justice as if we're not leading the country with clean slate, right, or anything else. But we also only have one women's prison that is overcrowded. It is constantly bringing in an additional 30 to 100 people, right, almost every 3 to 5 days that are filling up beds in there. We're not talking about the amount of women that are sitting inside of our county jails right now because groceries are too high, so they're trying to make their ends meet for their children, so they might steal some Similac. They might steal that Similac that Kroger's or Walmart or Myers is going to throw away, once it gets close to expiration. Like, come on now. Why nobody wants to talk about the most criminalized, but we're constantly like having a conversation of, what is the Trump regime is doing. Like, no, what is happening to our people while all of this stuff is happening?
Exactly.
Right.
Yeah. We have to do both.
Exactly.
I want to go to, seeing that you brought Huron Valley up, I need to go to Crystal.
Segue.
Like everybody else would go up there and get help and get treated. I don't deserve this. I'm burning up hot, sweat burning up my throat. My ears is just so bad. This is my head, my chest hurt. I'm swollen. Like I don't deserve this. I deserve this. All I ask them to see me. If they come out, it's chronic. The kite. Why do I gotta fit a kite in when y'all know it's chronic? What nurse and doctor do this to people? Like, it's unstoppable. So I had to go and do this. I'm tired of acting like there's nothing wrong with me, that I'm crazy. It is something wrong with me. This stuff is killing me. It's making me sick. I'm sick of this. I'm really sick of this. This is just so wrong. This is just so wrong. Trying to walk around here. I try to ignore my pain because I can't get no help. I try not to think about it, but it's not getting no better. It's not getting no better. It's not getting no better. I'm seeing black spots all in my eyes and stuff. Something is wrong. They know it is. They know it is. This is just not right. Oh, man. I'm trying, y'all. I'm trying. This is totally worse than torture what they doing. This is so unstoppable. Oh, you won't send me to people that can help me? What type of place is this? Like, why you won't send me to people that can help and want to help? I'm not understanding it. This is unstoppable. I can even barely cough because my neck is so swollen. Like, it's crazy. Like, they ain't getting no follow-ups on my nodules. They ain't doing nothing but acting like nothing is wrong. You're saying nothing is wrong when you can see it. The ringing in my ears is so, like, the left ear, like, I cannot hear nothing. oh my God, like it's bad. It's bad enough you can't even wear the hearing aids that was given to me because my ears is so bad. All my pillowcases, I gotta keep on changing every time I lay down. I gotta keep on changing them. They not giving me no extras, but they not doing anything for it. I just keep on telling myself I can't let them get the best of me. Though. Gotta fight. Keep on telling myself I gotta fight. But I should not have to fight because this is their job. What they come here for? This is unstoppable. This is unstoppable what they doing. Everybody see it. Everybody see it. It's not like I don't see it. People ask like, even staff, even asking like, why is they not helping you? You're not getting no better. Look at you. The way I feel in my inside of my body. Damn it. I'm so sorry for y'all like this, but I'm tired of these. These are some cold-hearted demons in here. And it's sad to say. They are evil. They not right. They not right. It's not right here. And I just gotta stay strong and keep on fighting. I've been burning up. My whole body is hot. Like, it's really hot. But, like I said, we just gotta keep on fighting. My eyes, the fear of it, lose my eyesight, man. Seeing this stuff. I'm just seeing these black spots, my eyes been burning and stuff. I'm scared, like I'm gonna lose my eyesight. They're not doing anything about this. Anything. But judging me, blaming me, when I'm the one asking for help, begging y'all every day for help, telling y'all I'm not doing good, something is not right. And it's just being ignored. It's just being downplayed. It's charging me to come over there. Every time I tell them something wrong, I'm getting charged. And then when I get over there, they're taking my money and still not doing nothing. That's unacceptable. This is totally wrong. Yeah. My neck is in too small. Something is telling us something is not right. I know it. I can feel it. And all they tell me is kite. When they sit over there, if y'all go over there and they want to play these cameras, they can sit over there and talk about us gossiping on Facebook page and looking at internet and stuff study, worried about our health. This is the type of stuff they do on internet, Facebook page, talking about us. We sit out there waiting to get seen. They talking about inmates, just talking about us and on computers and all that, and don't even care about if we sit up here and need help. That's why a lot of these people not here, because they're not taking it serious. They're not taking it serious. That's what they do, just sit over there and get gossiping and study helping us. You gotta be ashamed of themselves, man. But I know they got it all answered to God. He see it all. He see it all. I know he do. He see everything that they do. Everything that they do. They won't get away with it. But I gotta keep on telling myself, I gotta stay strong. I gotta stay strong. I gotta fight. Gotta fight. Because with God, when he come through, he gonna show how. And I cannot wait to these cold-hearted demons to see them go down. Yes, I said it, to see them go down. They deserve to be in here. They treat people like this. Letting us sit here and helling this bowl and helling all type of stuff. Drinking this unsafety water, bathing in it, eating spore food, maggots, bugs be in this food. They sit here letting us eat this stuff, letting us drink this stuff. The ventilation, ain't nothing safe in here. We inhaling and breathing this stuff in. Like, this is unacceptable. This place should have been torn down. How is we living in something like this? And how is there so many people out there? A lot of people know about it, and ain't nothing being done. This is unstoppable. This is crazy. But the ones who work here don't care because they getting paid. They getting paid, but what they don't know, it could be affecting them. How many times I gotta say it can be affecting y'all? Y'all might not feel it right now, but down the line y'all might. Come on, like this is not right. You're paying over this stuff. That stuff is not working. Brown water we drinking it. No, this is unstoppable. This is a shame. A shame on the warden, a shame on Holly Washington. This is a shame on everyone who's involved in this and don't take action to do anything. Like, and you sit there and see bodies after bodies dropping dead when they asking y'all for help and y'all telling them they faking. What is going to take? What is it going to take for all of us to lose our lives? That's what it's going to take? This is crazy. This is crazy. They got pregnant people. They got pregnant people in this prison living in hell and this stuff. This is sickness. This is crazy. This is unstoppable. This is unstoppable. Like, I'm just, oh my God, Lord. This is just wrong. And when you speak out about it, you don't get help. You get made to be crazy. You crazy. It's all in your head. Nothing is wrong. But when you up there bearing down and kissing butt and letting them do what they want to do to you, oh, you can get all the help you want. I'm not one of those people. I deserve to be treated right. And my medical, everything. I'm not about to sit there and let you do me any kind of way and talk to me any kind of way and don't get no help. No, I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to do that. No, I don't deserve that. I don't deserve this. I didn't disrespect them. I just asked for help. Been telling them for 15 years that something was wrong. And everybody ignored it. Everybody. And the ones did try to help, they gone. They gone. This is unstoppable. This is so wrong, y'all. This is wrong. But I'm going to keep on speaking out, fighting for what's right, fighting for my life, fighting for my health, and stand for others. Be the voice for the ones can't. It's too many older people in here. These you guys sit here and see suffer and just die because they don't got no support. This is totally wrong.
You have 1 minute remaining.
Some got to give. Y'all got to come together before it's too late. I need all of y'all right now. Please come together before it's too late for me. Fight with me. Like, something got to give. It's been going on too damn long. And I'm sad. They let me sit here and suffer because I spoke out about my life. They not branding my clemency or anything because I spoke out what was going on and doing. This is what they do it to me, but everybody else deserves. All I ask is for help. So they holding that against me. But it's okay, because God see it, and he going to let it happen anyways. He got the last say, so he the judge. But I need y'all. I'm not doing good. Really not. They demons won't even see me. It's unstoppable. We got this together. We got this together, yeah.
Thank you for using GTL.
That's my conversation today with Crystal. She was so sick today. I talked to her twice today. She's so congested. And she went to try to get some treatment today, and they would not treat her. And told her that she needed to put in a kite. But she has a chronic condition that they know about. And they still won't see her.
What do you tell the group? Somebody might be listening who doesn't know what a kite is.
Yeah, a kite is it's what's the word I'm looking for? It's a piece of paper, you fill it out. If you need like medical service, you send a kite. If you need to talk to a counselor, you send a kite. And whoever receives the kites they're reading is supposed to respond to them. So yeah, when she says the way that you would need to go see medical, right? Is you will send a kite to ask for, the request for services.
Yeah. So she was basically saying if you have a chronic condition, I guess you don't need a kite. But, they retaliate a lot against Crystal because she speaks out. She advocates for herself. And so this is another way how they retaliate against her. They make her go through all these extra steps or whatever. And they see that she's suffering. Today was a bad day for her. She was telling me about the ventilation. Some kind of dust is coming out of it, but the mold and stuff is bad. But she was saying once it gets like these days when it's starting to get warmed up, it gets bad in there. And so she gets really sick. And they just had this company out there, AAI, who are mold specialists. But they want to fight against her and the lawsuit that they have, her and some of the women regarding the mold. So when I didn't even watch the State of the State because I know that this Gretchen was not going to, say anything of substance that I wanted to hear regarding criminal justice reform. She came out, and when she first came out and, as governor, and she was out here campaigning, that was her thing. She was for reform and she was going to do all this wonderful stuff. And now you barely get it out of her mouth, Yep. Meanwhile, all these people know what's going on in Huron Valley. They're painting over the mold. They know it's a big deal. Crystal has been advocating for the last few years regarding her health. Everybody knows, but people are sitting on their hands right now because nobody want to expose it. If they expose it, then it's going to set a precedent. And I talked to one of the lawyers and said it's going to set a precedent throughout the whole prison industry because of this mold. So they rather act like it's, she's crazy and tell her she's crazy. And, she was telling me about, the stuff that's coming out of her ears. Nothing has came out of my ears and out of my ears. I don't know about you guys. So that's not normal, but they're saying, oh, that's eczema. No, that's mold. You can see it in the pictures. So we just, we're advocating for Crystal. We're, if anyone can help us, join us. Trisha, can you come on camera for a minute? Trisha and Survivor Speak is putting on information. Go ahead, Trisha.
Yeah, so we were blessed with some students from the social department at U of M, and every space we're in, we're just trying to figure out different ways that we can uplift. And so we put it out to the students to see, what they thought. One of the things that they came up with is doing like an informational rally where they're going to have Crystal's information on a QR code and just pass that around through campus to get the word out and to get the word out for a community conversation that's going to happen as well there in April. So we're still working some of the kinks out, but the whole focus behind that is to just share the light, what's going on in Women Huron Valley Prison, feature the story of Crystal, talk to some folks that have been there that are home, right? Because they keep, as you said, trying to just isolate this situation to Crystal as if it has not happened to other people. We've heard Linda Sturmer talk about it. We've heard Michelle Pearson talk about it. We've heard so many women talk about the mold. And so we are having this community conversation. We'll have some lawyers. We'll have some public health folks. At this point, it's a by any means necessary kind of thing, right? Whoever we can get to. As a matter of fact, I seen State Rep McKinney last night. And after I asked him why he didn't show up to the wrongful conviction summit, talk to him about what is going on there. And so I mean, we like you said earlier. First of all, we got to get folks in office who are really going to do something for real, and not just go with the flow and vote with folks, or just so folks will vote with them. All these political games that people keep playing. We need people that are going to stand 10 toes down. I know one day it's going to be me. I don't know what seat it's going to be for, but I will stand 10 toes down for my people. But as it pertains to Crystal, we are going to do anything that we can. We're working alongside the coalition with Jay, Reverend Tia, Leslie, and some folks from the nation. But we will share that information as soon as we get the date. And please go to Crystal's link tree. Please go to her link tree. Familiarize yourself. You know, the only reason why we can have mold in these situations is because, unfortunately, they're slaves in the minds of those that keep them housed. And so that's why that judge said, oh, well, MDOC don't have to have a mold-free environment. Oh, really? But fair housing says that if you live somewhere, it has to be mold free. Well, they live somewhere. What's the difference? The 13th Amendment?
And they found asbestos there too.
Yeah, so
Asbestos mold.
Yeah, it's, I know one thing, like, we got to call them out, right? Attorney General Dana Nessel does not care, right? Our governor does not care. Kyle Kaminsky at the Michigan Department of Corrections, of many community conversations he has been in and has heard these stories, he does not care, right? And ultimately, right, I don't think our community is caring enough, because we built this narrative that no matter what crime, you go to prison, you're a prisoner. Mm-hmm. And what I need for the community to understand is that these are still human beings. And your contribution to the criminal justice system right now is sentencing people to die. And we have to be real with ourselves. We don't have a death penalty in Michigan, right? Not through the state, maybe federally, but not through the state. And we have to should our tax dollars really be going into having these type of facilities? And not just mold, it's the overall prison condition, it's the overall culture of prison. If we don't hear stories about the mold, we're going to hear stories about correctional officers taking advantage of women. We're going to hear stories about women being handcuffed to the bed, right, while there's a male officer in the room and she's giving birth to a baby. Or maybe that baby is being birthed on the floor, right? And in the many men prisons that we have throughout the state, thinking about how many of those men that are in there, 60, 70, 80 years old, your tax dollars are going to that. And we have to keep this in mind that, I talk with a lot of people, and a lot of folks are not thinking of 95% of the prison population is coming home one day. They're not, it's only a small margin that are sentenced to life without parole, life to actually die in prison. But for the overall majority of people in prison, they're coming back home one day to your community, not to a made up imaginary community for formerly incarcerated folks. That does not exist. We come back to your community. And if we're housed, or let's say if we're caged inside of these environments, that only causes more trauma. When I went to prison, I became a better criminal. I seen more death amongst Black men than I seen growing up in the city, right? I seen that, and that has done something to me, right? There's so many more that are in these prisons that are being impacted by this mold, being impacted by the overcrowdedness, the illnesses, the sicknesses, all of these things that are going on in there, on top of the oppressing prison culture of the guards, right? People that are human beings going in there and treating other human beings as less than, for what? At the end of the day, it's for what, right? Are you getting a kick out of this when you go home to your children? Are you treating them? We have so many questions for correction officers that I don't think will ever get answered. But at this moment, we have to continue to call these folks out. And Crystal Story needs to go national, right? That's one thing I've learned over my years of organizing in this state. Nobody likes a national story. Once it hits that national platform, they want to kind of not be seen as, you know, the state that's doing the wrong thing. They want to try to get their act together. So I'm glad that you have this this phone call recorded. That was sad. That was really sad. And if somebody that is listening to this that, you know, don't have the empathy or the sympathy for that person that was just pleading for their damn life, of not wanting to just die in prison. That's it, right? Of not wanting to die the way that they are being impacted. If you can't have empathy for that, you're a soulless human being. to hear that, and you would, not only is that happening with adults, but it's happening in our children facilities as well. Nobody's talking about it. Nobody's talking about the number of children in Wayne County that has been raped over the last 20 years. We don't want to talk about that because that's going to make a system look bad. So they cover it up and they try to get a lot of us charismatic organizers and leaders that's been locked up to go in there and talk to the young guys. But we need to start exposing that and telling the truth.
Yeah.
They're feeding us bad food. They're treating people really bad in there. They're making them exposed to mold. We seen something happen in the Wayne County jail during COVID when Michigan Liberation, you know, we put a lawsuit on both county, Oakland and Wayne County, to empty out their jails to protect people. And when that sheriff said there was nothing going on inside his jail, he ended up dying from COVID. They end up dying from COVID. So it's like, yo, when the community speak out about these things, we have to listen and then take action and not just say, oh, you committed a crime, so you probably deserved it. That's not it. That's not it. I know a lot of children I have children. I ain't gonna say a lot of children that's bad, but a lot of children gotta do something. That don't mean that we have to pull out the biggest 2x4 and beat the death out of them, right? And that's what's happening to our currently incarcerated people, especially the women. And I thank you, J Love, for playing that. And for our listeners, I just hope that we can ground ourselves and take a deep breath, you know, after hearing that recording.
Yeah.
I went to a event a few months ago. It was a series actually between the Michael Thompson Project and the U of M Clemency Project, and like it was a lot of information. It was like, you know, drinking from a water hose. But one thing stuck with me, and it's that they did all these surveys or whatever, and 1 year on the inside is equivalent of 2 years on the outside. So your life expectancy is shrinking, even if you didn't have mold, even if you didn't have whatever, just because of the environment and everything. So, and I see it with my son, like he's still young and he's still my baby, but he's not the person that went in. He's only been there, I mean, not only, but he's been there for 3 years. And it does. And he's like, he's lost his baby face. You know what I'm saying? It's hardened him. And so we have, you know, privatized prisons started in Michigan 87, I think it was. And so since then, you know, we've had 4 to 5 times more prisoners since it's private. So it's more money involved. And since we're at this place, we got senior citizens. You know, my great uncle was mailed home. He died in a Michigan prison, was mailed home. Yeah.
I mean, a lady just left out of Huron Valley. They just gave her clemency. She was 95 years old. Like 95 years old. Okay, she can go home now. You know, this is just insane. And so, you know, a lot of people don't want to have these conversations because they don't think it could be done. But it can be. We talk about wrongful convictions all the time. And we see how some of these people is 20 and 30 years, you know, before they get 14, 15 years before they can come back home. I mean, you know, and so it could be anybody. It's not just Crystal. You know, we can't even advocate because Crystal's wrongful conviction, because we're too busy trying to get, raise money so she could get to a doctor.
And get
Somebody,
home.
right. So we got to pay for them to take her. We got to pay for the guards and all of this. And then we got to get a doctor to see her that's not their doctor, so we can get some kind of, what is going on with Crystal. Why has she got all this green stuff in her ears? Why is her ears canal so swollen that she can't even hear, or she can't even put the hearing aid in? This is the stuff that we're dealing with. And then we try to talk to people about this, and all they see is she's in prison, not seeing that she's human, not seeing that could be anybody. That could be your daughter, that could be yours, aunt, your sister. Crystal is a mother. She has children. She even has grandchildren. Her grandbaby, just passed away, while she was locked up down because somebody attacked her.
Yeah.
Somebody attacked her. Retaliation again. Every time we go out there, it's some kind of retaliation.
It's a lot in a little bit of time. This is the 28th of February. We did that prayer the 28th of January. They gave her 12-hour notice. They was about to do heart surgery. No paperwork, no nothing.
Mm-hmm.
And it was only I mean, I know I probably shouldn't say this, but I think it was the Holy Spirit that came across that surgeon to say, you know what, I can't do this. She is in no position. She would die on this table because she's too worked up. All this happened.
And the fact that it's too nasty in there to even have surgery. They know that.
The doctor said he did. Another reason why he did not want to do the surgery is because she's not even getting help for the mold. So he know that she's not going to get help for her heart. And this is, we're talking about Michigan right here, where you got all these, people, all these women in charge, but nobody's looking after the women prison.
Mm-hmm.
So,
yeah, her grandchild dying, the lockup, all of that is in the last 28 days or 30 days. Excuse me. This is a lot.
Mm-hmm. And it doesn't stop. It keeps going. It just keeps happening and happening. And there's so many stories that are not being told that needs to be told, that really needs to be exposed, of how this system operates. And I know people probably like, you look at criminal justice reform and who's organizing around it, and a bunch of formerly incarcerated folks like, oh, they're just mad at the system. We are. Like, we're mad that we were duped, we were tricked. And not only were we tricked, but we were first to come out and say, many people will come out like, oh, the system really helped me. No, it didn't. It didn't. It has not. All right. It doesn't. And also, we, especially Black folks, I just have to continue to call us out. We have to get out of this notion that our current criminal justice system as it stands today, prisons, jails, police, judges, and prosecutors have not kept us safe in history. There's still just as much crime happening, right? Assaults happening. Now we have crime just grows. So these things are not keeping us safe. They're not really keeping the victims of some of these things safe either. And so we have to really be imaginary and rethink, what does accountability actually look like for many of us in our community, and when does that start? When do we actually start to get to people and talk about accountability? As an abolitionist, healing has to come first. And always I ask myself that question, when does healing really need to come in effect? And I don't think it's at the moment where something traumatic happens in your life, because trauma lives in our body. Generational trauma, it lives in our back. That's why so many of our Black people have back pains. I need a massage, need to go to chirotherapy and things like that, because that trauma of our ancestors live in our back. So many of our children, right, needs to be exposed to these healing modalities like somatics, right? Not just therapy, not the the academic way of looking at healing, but getting back into the cultural stance of what healing really means to us as a Black people in a Black culture. We're not doing that. We're going to continue to repeat the cycle, and people going to be in prison being taken advantage of, all in the name of rehabilitation. And these folks are coming out broken and damaged.
Yeah. Semantics. I really like went home. We did that in Florida, and the whole week of semantics. And I went home. My daughter said, she been saying it since I have attended that thing. You went to Florida and came back, and you can't stop saying no. So you're like, you would never say no. Now I ain't never heard you say no this much, but we do. We need those kind of modalities to get us back in touch with who we are, because so much has separated us from who we are that we don't even know who we are, and we say the craziest stuff. We looking crazy. We saying crazy. We're not a village anymore, and so we need to heal ourselves, like ourselves, so we can help heal our community. So, well, anybody
you asked about when to talk to kids, and I'm just thinking about we have to we have to know that third graders are surveyed, or they record how many third graders are in an area and their reading scores. That's how they populate or decide how many cells they're going to need. How many kids are reading below level. So some of it is just about, not necessarily talking about prison with a third grader, but putting that pressure on second graders, as in like knowing about who they are and being, having power of their own and autonomy over their little lives, and knowing how to read. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, that's so. I want to touch on that real quick, and because I want listeners to understand. When we see our communities impacted by lead in the water, this has a major impact on the development of a child's brain. A child's brain is not fully developed until around the age of 25, maybe 26. I know, hard to imagine that we can still be kind of like in a childlike mindset at 21, 22, 23, right? Kind of makes sense when we look at our culture and our community. But when we have lead in the water, a child that is taking in that lead has a 65% chance of going to prison before the age of 25. Now, put that together. A 65% chance, you can look that up, real numbers, right? 65% chance of going to prison before the age of 25, before their brain can actually be fully developed as an adult brain to make a conscious decision and understand if there's repercussions behind the decision that they're making. So we have to really pay attention to this country and our community when we start to hear these reports that there's lead in the water. Flint, Detroit, Van Harbor, right? We can go across this whole state and look at Black communities that are impacted by that, and that's going to determine, right? They already know these children. If this child is in taking water with lead at the age of 1, they're not going to make it to that third grade reading level, which says statistically that if a child doesn't make it past, make it to a third grade reading level, they have a 50% chance of going to prison before the age of 21. We really pay attention to what's happening in our community and where it's happening to and who is happening. It's happening to Black folks. And all of this is by design. This is how when they do census and all of that, the impact, and they know where to build jails at in the community. If Detroit lost its population over the last, I think the governor said the last 30 years, we haven't seen a boom in population until like the last 3 years. So if Detroit's population has been on the decline, why are we building an additional jail with additional beds? Because they already know that those children were impacted They knew way before they would even commit a crime. They know that they have a 65% chance of making it to jail before the age of 25. So they put extra beds there for
Come
the
on
future.
through.
They put extra beds there for the future. If you go down to that new jail that's in Detroit right now, a lot of those beds are not filled up. A lot of those beds are empty because they know for a fact that a lot of these children that are coming up, by the time they hit that age, those beds will be filled up in the next 5 years,
Yeah.
in the next 7 years, in the next 10 years. All of this is by design, right? To keep us oppressed, to keep us in this imaginary slave plantation. It's not imaginary, it's real.
Mhm.
They just call it prison.
Right.
And
And
they do it in the name of rehabilitation. I just wanted to uplift
Oh,
folks with
thank you
that.
for breaking that all the way down. I have, and so that's what I was alluding to. Like, it's really a whole formula. It's a playbook and all that. And so we can't try to rein our kids in and get them together at 16 when they working on our children at 8. We run
right.
out of time.
Yep.
Yeah.
So now from school to prison pipeline, it becomes we're feeding kids the wrong things. And we know for a fact, we know these things, that it has an impact on the brain. And I'm glad that Beulah Walker is commenting in the chat. Jay, I really think you should bring in Beulah, you should bring in D'Amico, and they should have a conversation about what's really going on with our water. Water justice is real, and it's an intersectionality that when water is messed up, when housing is messed up, guess what? They have a runway ticket to go into prison. So we need to connect a lot of these issues in our community and not just keep it in a bubble or silo. Like, criminal justice is about water justice, is about housing justice, is about community justice, right?
Right.
But we have to hear these stories, and we need the experts, folks that know who they are, and these academians that's only doing it in the classroom. No, come out in our community and tell us the truth. What's happening with our water? What's happening with our air? What's happening with our food? And how that has an impact on our children over the next 20 to 25 years.
Yeah.
And not only drinking it, you sitting and bathing in it and lead water. Anything that touches the skin automatically goes into the system. The body is the skin is the biggest sponge there is. And so it's just sucking it all in. So you're right.
Contract with Urban Initiatives, which is part of the National Wildlife Federation. And the division head, she said once, if you want to follow injustice, follow the water. Follow the water. We're in the Great Lakes, so we should have no problem with the very least of having Great Lakes. You know what I mean? We should have some water.
Right. And we pay the most for the water. I was just watching a video yesterday of this guy, white guy, who was out in Everett, Michigan, and he was he found this space where they're pumping in all this water. Some company is pumping in all this free water in Everett, Michigan, and so they can sell it. Meanwhile, everybody else get lead water. I had this comment up because JF said why, which is why they ran highways through our areas, because the trucks with gasoline had lead in the gas and it affected our neighborhoods.
Yep. And also think about I don't know if y'all are familiar with Detroit, but the city airport on the east side, they used to be a very busy airport. They had Southwest Airlines, and before Northwest became Northwest, they was something else. But they had those airlines landing there. I want to say it was a hub for Southwest. And so you have these major jumbo jets that are burning this jet fuel, flying at a low altitude over one of the most impacted communities in Detroit. You know, but when you go to Western Wayne community out here in Romulus, nobody lives around that airport, right? It's surrounded by roads and highways. You actually got to take a very long road to get to part of the airport, and so that's done by design. All right, so I'm glad he put that in the chat. We look at how highways have destroyed communities in the past, right? But also what was passed through those highways that was impacting those communities.
Mm-hmm.
And if, for those who believe that Flint had been taken care of, they have not.
Mm-hmm.
Those children have still suffered. Bishop Bernadette Jefferson was one of the ones on the front line of that crisis, and she witnessed one of her grandchildren, because of the water, his behavior changed. He was a top student in preschool. I mean, yeah, in pre-elementary. And in no time, because of that water, his behavior, academics, everything went down. And so we gotta not, as a people, not get so excited about jobs being offered instead of looking what is it doing to our community. Because in the same community now, they just got finished fighting for the water and for having the water repaired, which they still haven't done what they totally everything. But now you got the asphalt company is out there. Asphalt company they wouldn't let them in some of the white communities that they wanted to go to, but who let them in Flint? So now the asphalt company is now in Flint with their pollution. So we can't get so excited just because there's going to be jobs. We have to stop. I love it, Armethea. We have to stop being a high class prostitute out here, because that is exactly what we are. That's what's exactly is going on in politics right now, is who can sell their tail the best, the best, who can give you the top dollar for your behind.
No offense to sex
Right now,
workers.
those people are getting money for themselves. And it's because people have made money their idol. They made money their idol. And I know it might be a hard thing to digest, but when it comes to money, and if money is your God, then that's what you are.
Yep.
That's what you are. Just put some high heels on and start stepping. Because we need to realize what is at stake here. Money cannot be more important than your child.
Yeah.
It can't be more important than your food and your water. We got to know what are we putting in ourselves. So when it comes to educating the community, taking our communities back, we need to be very intentional with our dollars and to make sure they go to serve us. Because if you knew who was going, I'm going to say, investing into the prisons, every time you go and see a show, every time you go and you pay tickets for a basketball game. Okay, you need to see who owns what. Do some research.
Right.
Oh yeah, and like I said, we have to just start calling them out.
Right.
Yep,
That's why I don't even go to no Piston game. No. Yep. Now when your owner owns, how much money was that? I told you, Leslie, he made like 1 billion.
Yeah, across the United States, but in the state of Michigan is 168 million, which is still nothing to sneeze at.
Right.
Just on the jails, jails.
So no, I already been boycotting.
But boycott, we gotta, I gotta get ready for bed, but we boycott, we gotta have some strategy there too, because what I liked about today's boycott was that Al Sharpton and the crew went specifically, they had like 500 people and they went and did a Target buy-in. So and these are, because Target has like made negotiations, and they only got Black owned products, and they spent $25,000 just to show you we got it. We just not spending it on purpose. But what our demands are, we need to make them clear. And because we can't boycott everybody at the same time, we won't have nothing. But we can say, if we're going to boycott Little Caesars Arena or the Pistons or whatever, we need to know clearly who's the players, who's going to be hurt, and then, strategize around that with that knowledge that we have.
So I have a different thought on that. I just think for me, when I say I'm boycott, I'm not going in there, period. You know, I'm not going in there. I'm not spending my money in there. Unfortunately, with boycotts and protests, it's going to be some sacrifices that people are going to have to make, you know, and in order, you know, the bus, if we look back when they had the bus boycott, they did not get on the bus. That some people had to walk, uh, had to get up hours so they can walk to work, you know, even though, you know, work was probably about 5, 10, if not longer away from their homes. They sacrificed because they wanted to set this precedent. And we had to do the same thing. I think, you know, going in there, spending that money, Target still made money, you know, off these products, you know. And so I just feel like, you know, these businesses, unfortunately, you might take a hit, but we have to be more creative. When we say we're not spending our money, we're not spending our money. And we have to be intentional. We have to be more focused. And I think if we do that, because we always been spending. We use spending as therapy. You know, if something going on, let me go buy me something. You know, that's kind of in our DNA because of all the struggles and stuff that we have, our ancestors have went through. And so as Black people, we want to have better. We want to, you know, have great stuff. Meanwhile, they play on that. They know that that's our thing. And so they take advantage. Target made a Pacific deal and they reneged on it. So it's time to renege on them. And so, and whoever else, you know, that we have to renege on. We just have to say, hey, and unfortunately, some people, like you said, are not going to be able to, because in some areas, all they have is a Walmart. But you don't have, you know, all they might have is a Target or whatever. So you have to be, you know, intentional on how you spend. But the rest of us who can participate, we just have to be intentional with how we spend our money with people who don't mess with us.
But so when you have that, all I'm saying is that I agree. I didn't go to Target. I'm still not going there anyways. But because some of the issue with Target is also about all the people that were, you know, have been just as involved because of their unfair surveillance systems in Black neighborhoods. Like, let's not forget that. You know, but what I'm saying is I wasn't really just thinking of just about Target, but what are our demands from these businesses? Like, what do we want from them? Like, we have to not think with emotion in that way, but we have, yes, intentional. Dr. Clay said we have to be intentional because we didn't have 1955. We didn't have spending power in the same way. We didn't have that card to play. We could only show them better. We could tell them, but now we're almost $2 billion or $2 trillion spenders in this country, and we still don't have no more wealth. So somebody's spending it, and we not getting nothing out of it.
But we need to spend to each other. They need to. So you know, we want to do high production. We want to do it their way. But at some point, we need to just go straight to the vendor and purchase. And there we need to find another way. At some point, because trying to make deals with the oppressor never works. It's not going to work. And that's why you have to be radical. And that's why you have to separate yourself. You have to separate yourself. And look, I've been on a 1 meal a day plan and you know why? Because I don't want to spend, and I'm putting healthy stuff in my body because I'm not spending my money at putting crappy stuff in my body. I'm not going to do it. You can come to my house. I'm not putting crappy stuff on my stove. I'm not feeding my family stuff that's going to kill them. when
What's
you
that?
know the byproducts and stuff in this food, the food is not good. And where do they sell it? In our communities. Stay
Yeah.
in it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's gonna take reform. It's gonna take feeling uncomfortable. No, I can't just stop and go get a burger here or a burger there. And guess what? I don't want to no more. And if you are having trouble, pray
Mm-hmm.
your highest power to help you so that you can resist the
Mm-hmm.
devil and he'll flee from you.
Mm-hmm. Well, Nick, I don't want to hold you up. um,
Sorry,
Two
Nick.
things I wanted to say
Struck a chord. Struck a chord.
before we leave is that we have to work together. We got a mayor election coming up and a governor election coming up, and so we have to do our due diligence. We just can't vote for people because they're the name or they have whatever behind them. We have to, with everything that's going on, this is the time for us to reevaluate how we've been doing stuff and having conversations that probably the candidates have never had before. We're going to have these conversations. Not just anybody can be our governor anymore. Not everybody, just can't anybody be our mayor anymore. Like, we have to look for people who have the same agenda as we have, and we have to have these conversations with not only with them but with ourselves. Like, what are we expecting? What are we looking for? We have to have these conversations, or we're going to keep the same cycles going on, and we're going to be in this bubble, and 4 years from now we're going to just be out of here because it's going to be so much. And number two, thanks, Nick, for joining us tonight. I really appreciate this conversation. Beulah, if you're still here, me and you, so funny you said that because I talked to Beulah before about coming on here. So I'm going to reach out to her and Nick, D'Amico, and see if they'll
Yeah, you
come
gotta
on.
get them on. Yeah, they've been doing this water work for some time. And just shout out to all the water warriors and the water justices out there. But Beulah and Miko has been so they make some connections with water that will blow your mind. Because we think water is just the essence of life, right? It's like she just put in there, like how many of us even knew that your water get cut off, CPS come take your children. They can criminalize you. That's poverty, It's like, wait, what? You take your children because they got water here? Okay, I get it.
Right,
But
because your house is considered what is it?
Unfit.
Yeah. If you don't have any water. Like, so all of these things that's against us, and we don't have these conversations, people will be like, well, I didn't know that. That's why these spaces is so important, and just to trigger people to have these conversations with their family members, with their friends, because this is, they don't want you to know stuff. And if you're not making 7, 8, 9 figures, they ain't kicking it with you anywhere. It don't matter what you look like. It's not for you. So, thank you, Revertia. Thank you, Leslie.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you, Larry Smith, for letting me use his song.
Yeah.
And if anybody doesn't have anything else to say, Nick, do you have anything you want to leave us with before we go?
yeah, no, this has been an honor and a pleasure. I'm glad that we're in a space where we're building one another. I think a few things. One, for listeners, check out Michigan Liberation, all of our campaigns and efforts that we're doing in the community. This year, I will be focusing on doing a lot of organizing spaces for Black healing, Black joy, and Black celebration. So bringing somatics, connecting people to return and reclaim, so forth and so on. And I think lastly, my quote, when we lock up a Black man, we disrupt the household, but when we lock up a Black woman, it disrupts the community. And if we really take a hard look at the conditions of our community, we need to take a hard look at how we're treating a Black woman. So I'll leave folks with that.
Thank you. And that is miliberation.org, right? Yeah.
Yep. Yep. Facebook. Yeah. All the social medias. We're active. So.
And their training is amazing.
I want to
Yep.
go.
We'll have some trainings, and I'm doing a just real quick, like a movement cipher. We're going to be kicking this off in April, which is known as Second Chance Month. It's also National Poetry Month. I just got a connection with a really dope international artist, a spoken word artist that come from my beautiful Mass Live family, and hoping to do some collaborations where we can use art, music, poetry to really talk about the issues in our communities that many of us go through. So it's a little bit of entertainment with that message, right? So be on the lookout. April, we kick some things off through Michigan Liberation.
Yay.
That's cool.
Yay.
All right, you guys. Well, this has been a great night, great conversation, and we'll see you next Friday. Turning the moment into a movement. Good night, everybody.
Just a light of mine. I'm gonna let it shine. I'm gonna let it shine. Just a light of mine. Just a light of mine. I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. I'm gonna let it shine. Oh Lord, just let it shine. This light of mine, this light of mine. Oh Lord, would you please just let it shine. Take the drama out of my life. Oh Lord, every night the pain ain't right. I wake up at night, I never sleep. 26, 10, and 7, that's just me. Every day I need a little seed. I need a little fresh air, man, I need to breathe. All I know is trauma, all I know is tickets. All I know is no visit. All I know is a mission to get straight up out of prison. Lord have mercy for me. Lord have mercy on my people. Preacher Mary Washington and all my real. Lord have mercy with my people. I pray to God, we really need you. When I was down bad, when things weren't going right, every time I prayed at night, I put my hands up in my face. I said, Lord have mercy, little light of mine. Lord God, please let it shine. It's the drama that I live in my life. I swear to God, I was a bad guy every night. 10 toes down, salute. Everybody suffering, everybody who trying to make a way. Everybody looking for the sky, everybody looking for that piece of pie. In a law library, I know what that feel like. Hoping that somebody get active and involved in your situation. Man, pop your collar and pray. Cause Lord have mercy on my soul. And they make bad guy father get out soon. And the rest of those brothers who be mobbing to child each morning. Oh man, I ain't going to this afternoon. Man, I'ma miss dinner today. I got a couple noodles. You know what that feel like? You know what it is. And if you a victim of a wrongful conviction, suffered and served by Ken Worthy, then I know that you know what that pain feel like. And your mama know what that pain feel like. Your father know what that pain feel like. With that light, let that little shine. Let that light shine, a little light of mine. Bad guy, Doughboy Week, all these great people in this great world of ours. 10 toes down, salute. I appreciate you, bad guy. I appreciate you, Week. I appreciate the tech. I appreciate everybody in the studio. We gonna pop off that LV. Ooh-wee. Cause that's what they be liking to see. But I hope you hear the missing when you see me fresh. Salute.